Welcome back to another breaking news or rumor mill feature here on Vital MX. I'm your host, Michael Lindsay, and as always, these features are brought to you by our fine friends at Yoshimura R&D of America. Check them out at yoshimura-rd.com. Yes, again, the Star Racing squad on the 250 side is quite large. It's quite impactful. Originally going into next season, we thought there could be up to 7 riders on that team, but now it looks as if that number will actually be 6. The most obvious, of course, are Hayden Deegan. You also have Nate Thrasher returning, Nick Romano coming back from injury. We have Styles Robertson and Jordan Smith both entering the second years of their contracts. And then Dax DeBenek, of course, turning pro this year and moving into a 2-year deal with the team. So what was the 7th rider? Guillem Ferris, the Spanish sensation that they hired at the end of Outdoors last year, sort of on a trial run, really shocked pretty much everybody in the American scene of pro motocross. He was an EMX rider that had shown flashes of speed, but again, it was very unexpected to see him pop up at the final couple rounds of last year. The team went ahead and signed Ferris to a 1-year deal coming into this season, and originally we were kind of up in the air if he was doing Supercross Outdoors. It leaned more towards Outdoors, and that's ultimately what happened. He ended up having a very good showing at the first couple rounds before he was ultimately injured in a first turn pileup at Thunder Valley. He was well inside the top 10 in points. And originally we suspected that Guillem would actually be there for a second year based on some original verbiage from the team. After Ferris himself confirmed that actually was not true, we checked in and the team said there was verbiage in his contract, depending on his outdoor results, if he placed a certain position or higher, that there would be an auto re-up. Due to the injury, of course, he was not included or able to activate that option and was actually out of contract technically at the end of this year. At one point, at least, it seemed like the Star Racing squad was interested in keeping the young Spanish rider, but in the last couple weeks, things have changed. Shortly before Loretta Lynn's and about the week leading up, we started hearing rumors that Ferris had actually inked a deal with the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna squad here in the U.S. to sign on with them alongside RJ Hampshire. Well, while it hasn't been announced, and per most of these contracts, we will probably not see an announcement until the end of the season, until maybe the end of September when most of these contract dates do technically end. We've had confirmation from basically people within the KTM group and people in the Star Racing team that yes, in fact, Guillem Ferris will be moving on from Star Racing and is going to be joining the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna squad for 2024 and beyond. This does end a little bit of a saga of wondering who the second rider at Husky was going to be. We all knew that RJ Hampshire, and he's been vocal about it, was able to get a 2-year extension plus options for a 450 deal in Supercross really around the time that he really started to perform, had his great Daytona 450 ride, all that was on the table. So we knew that RJ would be on the team for at least 2 more years. But on the teammate side of things, we had Talon Hawkins, who was kind of brought in as a last-minute fill-in for Swole. Talon has performed well. We believe the KTM group has a plan for him, but it will not be on the team. We're still trying to get confirmation if Swole is in fact departing or not. It seems like he's linked to Triumph. We've put that in a prior rumor mill video. There has been some small rumors about maybe he's potentially staying at Husky, but for now that is a little bit up in the air. So that main second spot alongside RJ again has been a conversational point for 250 silly season. We did put out a video before that at one point they made a contract offer to Joe Shimoda, or were at least in those discussions. Joe did ultimately end up going with his Honda deal for the next 2 seasons. There was rumors about them trying to get Daxton Bennick back off Yamahas. There was a little bit of talk with Enzo Lopes, but ultimately this has really kind of led nowhere to them actually getting somebody else in that seat. Mumford's name was brought up. Maybe moving Voland over there has been in consideration, but again, they have now landed on having Guillem Ferris alongside RJ Hampshire. Now, does this mean that the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna team will be a 2-man 250 squad next year? Not quite. Like we said, there is still a possibility maybe of Swole. Again, that seems to be a rumor that keeps bouncing left and right. But also their B rider, Casey Cochran on the amateur side, who of course has performed very well this year, winning the last round of SX Futures, doing very well, dominating the Moto Combines, dominating one of his classes at Loretta's. He is actually going to be turning pro here before the end of Nationals. Either this weekend at Budds Creek or Ironman, he will jump up to the pro class. He has done his Pro-Am points race at Unadilla to get his pro license. And then from there, we wouldn't be terribly shocked to see him follow the path of Hayden Deegan next year by possibly participating in the early portion of the Future Series. And then if things are going well, jump up to Supercross for East Coast. At least in some shape or form, though, we believe we will see Casey go ahead and make the plunge to being a full-time pro next year, And we kind of doubt that he will run Loretta Lynn's as an A-class rider. We think he'll just go ahead and make that commitment, whether it's Supercross or full season pro motocross. At some point, Casey Crocken's machine will be under that tent full-time alongside Ferris and RJ Hampshire. And for those wondering about the 450 squad, we'll give you a little update on that. Christian Craig, of course, does have a 2-year deal already in place, meaning next year, 2024, will be the second of that 2-year deal. And then Malcolm Stewart has re-upped on a new contract for 2 years, which will start for 2024 and move into 2025. Lastly, while it is also not officially confirmed, everything we've heard points towards a re-up between Husqvarna and their title sponsor, Rockstar Energy, on a new multi-year deal starting in 2024. So again, that's our latest news here. We dropped kind of the layout of the Star 250 team was mentioned there briefly at the beginning that we believe is locked in. That's the information we have for the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna squad. Let's hear your thoughts in the comments section below. Is it surprising at all to you that Star went through the effort of bringing Ferris over, but then not re-upping him after a first year? How do we think he'll do in Supercross? Throw your comments and thoughts down below. Thanks for watching. If you always want to keep up with the news here on Vital MX, give us a subscribe.